Hello and welcome to Dice Punks, a tabletop role-playing podcast where we focus on playing full campaigns in less well-known systems. This week, La Famiglia Galleani and their many allies strike at the heart of the cartel's crimes in the Asano base beneath the fake mountain at the other end of Grand Cross. Hello and welcome. I'm Adam, your friendly neighborhood game master, and joining me are...
Hello, I'm Drew, and I'll be playing Vic Galleani, your team mom, your scheme mom, your helping you realize your dream mom.
Hi, I'm Robin, and I'll be playing the Revenant, Ash Galleani.
Hi, I'm Dez, and I will be playing Matchstick, probably for the last time as such, the hacker on site.
Hello, I'm Nick, spelled N-I-K, and I'll be playing Tyr, spelled T-Y-R. Used to be called Ing, I-N-G, so apparently I have a thing for three-letter words. Fuck, F-U-K.
Fuck.
I don't know why that destroyed me.
I was so expecting you to take that in the "and this is my social security number" direction.
Instead, you scored an extremely direct hit on Robin very early in the proceedings.
Well...
I was expecting ass. Because apparently I have a thing for it.
Oh, goodness. Well, what a way to start. Thank you, players, for being here. For those of our listeners who are not listening to the Dice Peaks, that is patreon.com/dicepunks, you may not know this, but this is our last recording session for Borrowed Light, but it is not, as you're hearing it right now, our last episode. We are going to be doing a bit of a marathon today, and we will produce, if all goes according to plan, at least 2 episodes, if you will, a 43A and a 43B. This, of course, being the first of the 2, is just the second to last episode, but for us, this is all sort of a finale thing. And so this time, we're going to get our recap in just a moment from Ash, and the next time, you'll hear it from me, because I'll be summarizing all of this right after we do it. And I can't really put that burden on my players. But for now, to kick us off, to get us into this, sort of first part of what for us players is a grand finale, let's get our recap from Ash.
I don't do well with goodbyes. They aren't clean, and they leave pieces behind. You don't really lose someone all at once. You lose them in increments, till the only version of you they still speak to is already a ghost of the real thing. So I didn't correct Ramirez when he said, "Till next time," after he shared that he's being reassigned to Earth. I let it stand. I've learned not to trust goodbyes any more than I trust promises. They're crushing burdens, and not the variety that Vic ordered at the place of honor while looping a Apatia into her operation. So, here's a plan we have to trust will work. Using Haru's generous funding to outfit our operation, we infiltrate Asano's hidden illegal mountain base. We crack their systems using my kids' shard card, and release a press statement under their own header that makes their existence and their experiments impossible to deny. One of our allies, Allie, launches a denial from Goliath, and K&B lays the framework to block the cartel from stopping this dissemination of information. Then we sit back and watch the cartel tear itself apart. Popcorn optional. The public learns the truth about dreamers, about why they were made, about corporate greed, and maybe the station's orbit finally tilts closer to the dream that built it. A fresh start, a place governed by the people, for the people. We vanish after our most reckless mission yet, hopefully alive, hopefully whole, unseen, unknown. That's the tidy version. Beginning, middle, end, a greeting and a goodbye. I used to think that was enough, that there might be peace and endings. But it's never how it worked. Surviving doesn't always mean winning. It means continuing, which can feel more like a loss than a victory. Sometimes the bad guys carry on too, and your late son comes to hate you because his hero failed to defeat them. How do you tell your kid that you took a bullet to the head because someone wanted you quiet? The only reason you survived is because the powers that be were built to you just well enough to keep using you. How do you explain that you can't share what you're doing to stop the bad guys? Because both of your existences are funded by government espionage. I never figured that out. So I let that lie too and continued on alone. Or at least that's the story I kept telling myself until he died. No goodbyes, just an ending. Now, I'm thinking I can do better than all that. Maybe I deserve something better than only continuing, than balancing on the edge of my own life. So I'm thinking about the after. What does the station look like without the cartel pulling the strings? What does my new family get to be when survival isn't our organizing principle? What kind of work remains when I'm no longer trading pieces of myself for time and money? Who could I become and all that comes after? Maybe I laugh a little easier. Maybe loving doesn't feel like a liability. Maybe pulling my family close starts to feel normal. One last mission. Then I get to write the next part of my story. I get to keep fighting for the station with the people I love, and maybe this time without the fear of being left behind. So, till next time, listener, no more goodbyes.
Very nicely done. And thank you for that, sort of getting us up to speed. We had concluded last time sort of in the evening-ish of March 13th with, sort of all parties coming together in the secure VR space that Luis had Ali and K&B whip up. So the mission is set to go tomorrow. And everybody has sort of assembled, and we sort of abstracted that some discussions had been taking place, but we ended on Apatia's arrival to the meeting complaining that it was raining again. As far as I'm concerned, we can play out as much or abstract as much of this sort of meeting in virtual space as we would like, and then we have the rest of the evening as well as into the night and perhaps even a little in the morning for pre-mission, anything that needs to get done, and then we can get into the mission that I think will make up the bulk of these 2 episodes. So I release it unto you in the wake of Apatia's it's raining again, as her relatively grounded VR avatar sort of instantiates, looking quite a lot like she does in real life.
At least 4 eyebrows quirk at her, because one of the faces on Hecate's avatar now has a hand, and one of the hands now has a face.
Now I'm just imagining you with mustaches, not so much tattooed, but like inked onto all of your fingers.
There's a lot of Jeep drivers, yeah, in this setup, driving a fractal Jeep of sorts.
I'm still recovering from the mental image.
Mm-hmm. Well, and to sort of
You're
help
welcome.
set the scene for our listeners here, this VR space, if you'll recall, was constructed to be sort of like the idea of like a situation room or a war room, heavily drawing on Dr. Strangelove, not black and white, but kind of desaturated, bright light above, and, sort of a utility space with, since it's VR, the ability to kind of display whatever you need it to in the middle. Various forms of seating arrayed around, and beyond the edge of the light, they're pitch inky black. The acoustics suggest that there must be walls somewhere and a ceiling somewhere, but VR does not require any such things to actually sort of be extant or rendered, so they weren't. In attendance, in addition to the four of you and Apatia, are Tama and Bronwy, Ali and K&B, Haru and Slagpie. Think that's most everybody, though if I left anybody off the roll call, do let me know.
Sounds about right.
Good. So, again, we can have the exact sort of like, briefing, details, greetings, whatever else, just kind of be hand waved a little bit. We got into some of the meat of the roles everyone would be trying to play last time, and the way the system works with prep, of course, is that some of what you will have discussed here will not really be firmed up until it becomes relevant in the uses of prep in the mission. But particularly, if there's conversations that need to happen or specific plans that need to be made, this is a good time for that. I suppose one thing that we can decide how we want to handle is that in the intervening prep time between it being initially discussed and now, primarily Haru, although in cooperation with Luis, has in fact written up the press release with some room for adjustments based on what's found in the facility that you all are planning to release from their systems as sort of the vanguard of this whole dissemination of information. And it is designed to walk a line between seeming like it was written internally by a cartel corporation while also spilling all of the beans and throwing some other cartel organizations under the bus. I suppose I leave it to you all's discretion if this is something that you would go over together and we can put on air, or if we want to have it sort of specified in its language and in its contents when it hits the net in its final form.
I think in world we probably do go over it, and many yucks are had. But as far as when the listener hears it, that might be a separate question.
I like the final form reveal once it goes into the world, and I agree that we do review it. I don't really look at it. I just listen to everyone else's reactions because I'm not the press release person.
Mm-hmm. Haru will talk briefly but emphatically about how much time was spent on it. Given that it is about 500 words and change, this is implies a fair amount of laboring over what is, at the end of the day, sort of just pablum. But very specifically crafted pablum, I suppose. So,
malicious pablum.
Ooh, I like that. Good album name. So
a pablum album.
Debut pablum.
The difficult second pablum.
The sophomore slop.
There it is.
A second pablum has hit the tower.
Oh.
Pablomatic discourse.
So,
This is probably about what the in-world conversation sounds like, to be
Fair enough.
totally clear. Yeah.
to review, Tama is, going to be sort of above ground, support and monitoring, sort of your radio liaison, if you will. Think about like the video game character that this would be in a number of games, because, she is still being sort of benched from the heavy action by doctor's orders after her, rubber bullet run-in at Goliath HQ. But she is, bringing over some, as she'll term it, toys to share with Ash a little bit later this evening. Slag Pie are, going to be trying to do their best to, sort of both distract from, but also organize around, the reaction to this, mission hopefully going off well, and can be on standby to help secure a, exfiltration if things go really south. Apatia, of course, is coming with you. Haru is trying to stay as plausibly deniable as she can, but is going to be trying to relay some information to her father to see if he can be of any help, since it's likely he's, been to this facility, although, his mind and memory are a little scrambled about it. And then KMB and Allie have their roles to play with both sort of being offside aid in KMB's case, as well as sort of preparing the ground and ushering the information into the wider public awareness, such that it can't be immediately suppressed. Allie, main responsibility is to break into Goliath systems and sort of have them issue a corroboratorily counter press release from their systems to, as Vic put it last time, get the girls to start fighting. Otherwise, Bronwy has done a fair amount to try and help with, various maintenance and tuning of augments and cybernetics going into all of this, and will otherwise be kind of on standby as external assistance. Prolix isn't going to really help very much, though you can occasionally hear him through Bronwy's mic.
With helpful input.
Mm-hmm. Always.
Prolix has thoughts on the matter at any rate.
What are those thoughts, Adam? Why don't you share them?
Prolix has words on the matter, not necessarily thoughts.
What are those
Presumably
words,
there are
Adam?
thoughts, but how related they are to the words is probably a question for science.
The small snatches that you will hear sometimes, as Prolix pushes through the sort of like voice activated comms volume threshold on Bronwy's end, are things like equestrian submarine and let's say rooftop sandwich soiree.
I'm at the equestrian submarine. I'm at the rooftop sandwich soiree. I'm at the combination.
The combination.
How about the combination? Those are the new lyrics.
Yeah. Are there other people whose roles I am forgetting, other things we want those people that I have mentioned to be prepping or taking care of? Are there any particular last sort of pre-mission conversations we wish to have before we call it prepped, log out, and return to meet space, where only some of these people will be available for further conversation?
I mention, as long as we're in secure non-meat space, that we have amassed quite the arsenal. But of course, that arsenal will need to be distributed back in meat space, as is the nature of such things. But I do, all assembled would want to know we're not going in underprepared in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
I will also let the digital cohort know that if they require, if they decide after this that they require new identities, that I will furnish them as part of payment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nobody says specifically yay or nay right off the block, but
Of course.
take the offer and put it in their back pockets with their thanks. I guess also on the topic of additional hardware, Haru and Slagpie will actually you sort of converse and with the end result that Slagpie has, location and access to go from the basements up those stairs to your HQ after you've departed, if they find that they need to strap up, if cartel crackdowns become highly escalatory, they have a backup armory they can raid. All right. So eventually then, everything has been gone over. Everyone knows what they're doing. Everyone, of course, can communicate with everyone else as necessary, and, begins to, wish everyone good luck and good night. And, get ready to go for the morrow. A lot of encouragement, a lot of, handshaking, mock saluting, backslapping, general camaraderie. And then first Bronwy, then the members of Slagpie, and then Haru. Everybody will, in relatively rapid succession, go their own way. With Tama and Apatia indicating that this meeting having been adjourned, they are making their way over to your HQ above the book club cafe to, in Tama's case, bring those aforementioned toys to Ash, and in Apatia's case, to bunk down for the night so that we can get going first thing in the morning. It is, in fact, still raining when everybody logs out. No longer a downpour like it was last time I mentioned rain, but in this case, sort of that steady drip, too heavy to be a drizzle, too light to be a real shower.
A femme fatale walks into your office weather. Gotcha.
Yeah, San Francisco weather.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that.
So yeah, shortly after everybody logs out of the VR meeting, some minutes later, the sort of first I guess probably coming up from the basements, there's like a little sort of digital doorbell from Tama, who has a lumpy duffel bag over one shoulder. And comes on up. And I mean, primarily what's in there is her bullpup rifle, ammunition, some tactical webbing to help kind of hold all of it. She also has, a variety of sort of, I would call them like other smaller toys that are, I think, going to end up being mostly redundant with options that we already have. But, we'll say that her trusty tire iron is in there as well. She seems cognizant that it's not going to be the single most tactically useful thing, but it's kind of a sentimental, inclusion that, that she trusts y'all with it.
Well, good to see you, Tama. How's the old hard drive?
Well, coming along. I'm cleared for screens for up to an hour at a time. Back on some of my, other sort of squirrelier augments. Try not to move too fast though, and well, the doctor has told me I'm not allowed to do any domestic terrorism. So I guess I got to stay here, but I'll help out how I can.
Well, much appreciated. And there's plenty of crime that you can do while keeping yourself safe-ish.
Yeah,
And don't worry, you're still in plenty of danger.
Plus, you're not doing domestic terrorism. You're aiding and abetting domestic terrorism.
I'll take what I can get, and you raise a good point here. Raise a good point, and it does help. Staying behind doesn't have to be staying safe. Gives you like a pat on the shoulder, and moves into the space and starts arranging the various toys on like a coffee table or similar, maybe a card table. Obvious affection in each sort of motion and sort of a careful arrangement. While she's doing that, you get a second ring, this time from Apatia, currently in her habitual garb, and
How long have you had that in the can?
last 4 seconds, completely off the dome. But she's carrying what could best be described as a bindle. Appears to be sort of an overnight bag made from a spare habit that she's bringing in. And she's all smiles, big chrome smile. She comes in. This will be so fun. I mean, the mission will be dangerous, but the sleepover will. I haven't had a sleepover since before I came to the station.
Yeah, it's welcome.
Ooh, there's not even any foil over the windows. This is swanky.
Yeah, it's pretty nice compared to the pit that we owned before. And we've got our own spaces, so that's nice.
I'll say, I brought some, like my toothbrush and pajamas and stuff, and then she sort of shakes the bundle and she says, and I borrowed some street clothes from some of my associates that I hope will make me a little less recognizable during the mission. Did I need to bring anything else?
Yeah, frankly, I don't know. In terms of preparedness, seems appropriate, but then again, I don't really have one of those biological bodies.
She nods. She says, "Yeah, sometimes I think you're the lucky one." And then she looks over at where Tama has just finished kind of arranging everything. Goes, "Ooh, well, this looks like a party." To which Tama just sort of grins and goes, "The best kind." And Apatia starts commenting on which sidearms are cute versus which ones are handsome.
Are we gendering our guns now?
Unclear, but certainly, there is like a size and angularity seems to be a consideration. Yeah.
Which of these is Baoba and which is KK? Except it's handsome and cute. Yeah, I think anyone of any gender can be either or both.
And Ash?
I look physically pained by this and start quietly producing, from what Tama would be most familiar with to what are the newest additions of my arsenal, and also adding them to the table while occasionally picking up one of her contributions and checking the sights and the action and nodding in quiet approval as I do so.
Yeah, I mean, her weapons are very well taken care of, and for Tama's part, she is not somebody who really coos very much, but she gets pretty close when she is inspecting the beanbag shotgun. She seems pretty taken with that. She goes, "Do you have a name for it yet?"
I not particularly prone to naming my weapons, so I guess if you want the honors.
She looks very solemnly down at the beanbag shotgun and sort of considers for a long moment. All at once, she looks up and makes serious eye contact with you, Ash, and she says, "Prudence."
Prudence?
Do we have a gun named
You know.
Patience?
She looks down at the various guns that she brought and she goes, "No, none of mine are. But then again, none of mine are beanbag shotguns. So, I mean, it stands to reason." That said, we've got some carbines over here that probably also need names. Which one of those looks like a Patience to you?
I don't consider it very long and just point at one.
And that
She
one's
goes,
yours.
"So be it." And sort of tinkers with it a little bit, and then gives it sort of like a fond smile and hands it to Vic. And then sort of hands on her hips and goes, "So, if anybody needs anything else," having sort of gestured at all of these and thrown the question out there, Tama, after a beat, will look at Ash and go, I mean, I am assuming that you're going to be bringing Hachiko along," and gestures at her bullpup.
I mean, I would like that, but you also need to hang on to some things just in case.
She blinks a couple times, looks down at the table, looks at you, looks back down at the table and goes, "By my count, I'll have 5 handguns here. So I think I'll probably be covered."
I nod sternly and introspectively before picking up the bullpup gun and, checking it out and being very deliberate and showing another nod of approval.
Mm-hmm. She looks on kind of fondly and goes, "I knew the two of you would get along." Apatia, meanwhile, has finished surveying the armaments and has gone on to inspect the whole floor of headquarters apartments. Getting real interested in various work areas insofar as they are evident, sort of tutting about the slightly disorganized state of some areas of the space, particularly, I would imagine, work areas and Luis's sort of claimed corner, hacker space, however you want to imagine that. But then sort of spins around in a circle and addresses Ing, says, "Well, this is all honestly very homey and very cozy. It doesn't seem to have been divided into sort of individual sleeping spaces. So is there anywhere in particular where I should set up for the night?"
Sure. I think, I don't usually sleep per se in my space, so you're certainly welcome there.
I
didn't think
focus
about that.
with extreme intention on the guns on the table.
Apatia kind of looks around. She goes, "All right, so I suppose where don't you sleep?" Wait, that was confusing. Where is it that you are specifically awake? No, that doesn't. What's your spot?
Follow me.
And she does. Taking it all in as she goes. Now, of course, it's not really bedtime yet. Probably those who need to eat should probably have something before it gets too late, though we don't have to get too into that. But it gives us some time to, do whatever other, sort of chatting or prepping we might need to do, as well as just to have some abstracted camaraderie time So I suppose here is your opportunity to do anything that you wish to get done, either practically or character-wise, before bedtime.
Want to say that, after Apatia is settled, oriented to the space, I do want to have a conversation with Cal before we go off on the mission. So
Apatia, having gotten kind of settled, having chatted a little bit, just kind of around the group and caught up a little bit more with Tyr, will avail herself of one of your showers, since, as she says, we kind of have to steal the plumbing over my way. And so, a pretty good opportunity for such a conversation to take place. So you can take it away.
all right. Knock on the door if it's closed, but so Cal, I've been meaning to check in with you about something that I feel like is a bit overdue.
What's that? I'm still over the gun table. I am arranging them in groups and pairs and stepping back and staring at them like I'm putting together a blueprint of some variety.
Lou. Tapa.
Yeah?
Why did you kill him?
I shrug a shoulder. He was dying.
Yeah. This isn't an accusation, it's a question. Why did you kill him?
I was never really PSS. Ramirez and I were cooperating to bring it down and gather intel from the inside, and Lou at least was a predictable element. I spent 4 years swallowing down the abuse, the sneers, the jeering, the veiled insults, and in one day, all of that work was suddenly bleeding out on the floor.
You were about to miss your chance.
All that work. And someone else came and nearly caused me to miss the grand reveal, I guess. I've never felt more useless or more incapable in that moment. And worse yet, I didn't realize what was going on outside.
All that time, were you really working towards killing him? If so, then could have done it just as quickly as that whoever actually did off him.
No, I had a grand plan of seeing him brought to justice. And knowing it was me all along that had slipped under his radar, the mother of the child whose death he caused.
I'm in no place to judge, but if you were looking for validation or vindication in his eyes, it seems an unworthy judge of the pain that was caused.
I wasn't looking for validation or vindication from him. I just wanted him to know that his most incapable employee was a plant all along.
Was this the first time that you've taken a life? Again, I'm no place to judge. The stains will never come out of these hands, no matter how often I change them out.
It wasn't.
Did it change you?
I think it taught me that no form of that list would bring me the satisfaction I wanted. And honestly, it didn't change me. Realizing that I didn't get what I needed from it did.
I'm glad that you're still here.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm glad that you learned something, even if not from the death, then from what it didn't buy you. And I'm glad that it didn't cost too much. I'm glad it didn't cost you too much.
I appreciate it. And for what it's worth, I don't think your hands are stained.
You know, I feel like maybe I'm starting to believe that too. Nevertheless, I don't think that I can take any lives and remain who I am.
That's fair. And I think maybe you've inspired me to be less loose with the shoot first, ask questions later thing.
The conversations get a lot less interesting.
Yeah. But I think we both can overcome our programming.
Cheers to that. So, what next? After we topple all the corpos?
I don't know. I'm sure there's still work to be done in making the station a safer place for everyone, but it'd be nice to not operate on a singular focus, be that revenge or survival or just getting through the damn day.
Absolutely. Now I'm trying to imagine you with a hobby.
That might be a danger to the whole station. I cock a shotgun.
Simultaneously, the shotgun cocking, Apatia enters the room with a towel in her hair and a towel around her body and goes, "Danger to the whole station, did somebody? Oh, wrong kind of tension. Sorry," and then leaves.
I very rapidly put the shotgun back down on the table and pretend like that did not just happen.
Anyway, leave you to your preparations.
I give a nod and a salute while suddenly very interested in the guns I've already examined multiple times on the table.
You're pretty sure that the one your focus turns to first is a handgun named Rudy.
Not like
Somebody queue up Supertramp.
So yeah, the next time Apatia emerges from the bathroom, she has on what you assume to be her outfit for tomorrow, which I can best describe to anybody precisely as old as I am as belonging to like a pop song music video from the late 90s, sort of like dark baggy denim pants and a sort of like neutral tone crop top and slightly stylized fitted denim jacket in blue. It does look very different from what she normally wears. It also is not exactly the height of station fashion.
All right. You've got your Superman disguise on, I see.
She blinks rapidly a couple times and then goes, "Right, no, who's the basic Avacia? I don't know who that is."
How many padded vest armor things did we get from Goliath?
I do not know the exact count. At least 3.
Can we say 4?
That is a value for at least 3. Yeah, we could say 4.
Okay. So I wordlessly toss one of the vests to her and suggest she put it on underneath the denim layer.
Mm-hmm. She sort of looks at it and says, "I might need a little help getting this set up correctly. There's about 4 more buckles than I'm used to," and sort of darts her eyes at Tyr, but mostly remains looking at the vest that Ash has tossed her. She goes, "Of course, I don't need it right now. Since we're going to bed soon, and this doesn't look like pajamas. The habit is hard to sleep in, so I figured I would try the streetwear. Don't really have pajamas per se."
Do you need some sweatpants and an oversized old t-shirt, perhaps?
"Oh, if you're offering, absolutely. That sounds quite comfy."
I set whatever
Mm-hmm.
gun or item I was messing with down and vanish into my apartment and my room.
Mm-hmm. You come back interval later with the advertised sweatpants and t-shirt, and Apatia thanks you as she takes them from you. "Thank you. That's and she looks at the t-shirt and sort of seems to zone out for a moment and then kind of snaps back and she goes, "I would say it brings back memories, but I can't access them. I just had the sensation without the actual memories. I really need to figure out what's going on with all my chrome. But in the meantime, thank you." And she ducks back into the bathroom to change into the pajamas.
That's concerning.
Yeah.
I try to remember what was on the t-shirt that I gave her.
It was just a G-Pole campus store t-shirt. It had a G-Pole logo on it, and that was it.
One of Maddie's old ones.
Yeah, precisely. In time, Apatia will emerge from the bathroom wearing sweatpants and an oversized G-Pole t-shirt. And she will, seemingly without particular intent, just give a little spin and go, "Wow, this is nice. I think I'll probably have no trouble sleeping in it," which is a little surprising. I was worried about wearing clothes to sleep and it keeping me awake, but these are really comfy.
I look pleased with myself.
It's not late yet, so if there's stuff that we want to get done before bed, we still have time. Otherwise, probably small talk will happen. Little bit of general conversation. If it gets to be enough of a lull, Tama will pull out some decks of cards and offer to play any number of card games to kind of just keep people from getting too jittery the night before a mission. At some point while relaxing, Apatia will sit bolt upright and go, Oh, I should have gone downstairs to the maid cafe, but I'm already in my pajamas.
You definitely wouldn't be the first to show up that way.
I shake my head in agreement with a slightly distant expression on my face.
She just sort of goes, but I want to make a good impression.
I think your general demeanor would be a cut above what they're used to regardless. But if you're cozy, stay put.
I once again nod, the expression deepening.
She nods thoughtfully. She goes, yeah, no, maybe a trip to the maid cafe will be exactly the motivation I need as a reward for succeeding on this mission. The decisive gesture.
Yeah. Walk in victorious with stories to definitely not tell.
She chuckles. She says, I'm very good at not telling stories. Well, I'm very good at not starting to tell stories to people who don't need to hear them. But once I get going, I'm actually really hard to stop. So I don't know how that actually translates into the truthfulness of my initial statement, but trails off.
I am staring at her blinking intermittently.
In time, it's time for bed. Everybody needs rest before an early morning tomorrow, and a trip to the other side of the station and into the mountainside, so to speak. So this is last call for pre-mission day anything. All right. At various times of, preference and a necessity, people drift off to sleep. Obviously, Tyr, you have different routine, especially now that Apatia has sort of laid out some blankets in, your little corner of the space, and has sprawled out rather unceremoniously in order to drop off to sleep.
Apatia, do you mind if I join you?
Oh, not at all. She scooches in a way that only kind of sort of makes space, but she seems not to be fully aware of how symbolic the gesture actually was.
Right. Settle in and sleep well.
She sort of pats the area and then says, "You too, big guy." And as you sort of take up the space, she throws one arm partway across sort of your center of mass with her palm pressing to one of the plates that sort of covers your front side. And she makes a satisfied, sleepy little sound.
Yeah. And share some companionship that night. It's nice.
Yeah. If there's nothing else in particular, everybody sleeps exactly as peacefully or fitfully as they would the night before something stressful. But at the very least, you have the reassurance that you are pretty well prepared, in terms of the amount of information that it's possible to have and the amount of preparation it's possible to do. You feel as though you have done what can be done, and at the very least there is a certain peace in that. The next day, go ahead.
I was going to say, I posit that at some point in the middle of the night, I do get up and pour myself a glass of water and maybe take some melatonin before retreating.
Mm-hmm. The next morning arrives probably at a relatively normal time for Tyr and Ash, and a little early for Vic, and excruciatingly early.
Yeah, fuck all this shit.
But there is plenty of coffee available, as well as, some or all of you had the foresight to, have some little easy breakfasts kind of ready to go. A Danish here, a biscuit there, a granola bar in another spot.
Donuts.
Donuts.
I do not touch the donuts.
I touch the donuts and eat them.
Apatia touches
just
all the
touch 'em.
donuts, but only eats some of them.
I don't eat
She
all of them. I'm not a monster,
yeah.
but yeah.
She explains that she has to see which ones sort of vibrate before she picks which one to eat.
Mm.
She is kind of excited to change back into her street clothes. It seems like a novelty. To be wearing the outfit of a backup dancer in a TLC music video.
No, the image was clear.
I was just shorthanding it this time. And Tama makes sure that everybody has their appropriate hardware, and then everything is arranged, oiled, sighted.
With the weather being what it is, I figure a long raincoat will be the best way to hide patience and my other accoutrements. So I get out said raincoat, and if I have to schwitz under it, then that's the price that must be paid. There's only so many parts of me that can still sweat anyway.
Right.
I assist in handing out the different kits that I had sort of assembled. So in addition to patience, you also get what you recognize as what was my previous handgun, not the PSS one, but the one that I took from a Terabyte boy, Vic. And then the rest of you also get an assortment of firearms. I will let Adam figure out the exact distribution to an extent because I heard there were more handguns than what my initial estimation detailed, but I finally pass my stun gun in particular to Luis.
I will look at it, look at you.
I stare steadily at you.
If you look at me, I am giving you a, there's no wrong answer here, but we do need one kind of look.
Yeah, I grit my teeth and pocket it.
And I say, only if someone gets through me.
And me.
So
Please don't let that happen.
I won't.
So not to get too bogged down in the details, but just to give our listeners kind of an image here, right? Vic has this long raincoat with a Goliath carbine and assorted magazines under it, as well as Ash's former Terabyte boy handgun and ammunition. And then Luis has the stun gun, and if Luis will accept one from Tama, one of her sidearms and ammo, but only if you accept one. She will not push.
That I won't.
No. Then not on your person. Tyr, you are offered whatever sort of firearm accoutrement you want. You of course also have your sticky shocker from Acquire Asset. There is a very limited pool of less lethal ammunition, not even a whole magazine for the Goliath carbines, but it is on offer. Apatia, for her part, will take Rudy, but wave off any further ordnance, sort of being like, if I'm shooting at people, something has already gone wrong, but better to be able to than not. And then that leaves Ash, who looks kind of like if you projected 2 frames from the Matrix lobby scene kind of superimposed on top of one another. You've got your beanbag shotgun Prudence. You've got Hachiko, the bullpup rifle. You've got your sticky shocker. You've got some flashbangs. You have your pick of Tama's sidearms if you want one or more than one.
I'm taking Barlow's.
Oh, right. Yeah. You have Barlow's machine pistol. Yeah. You have a fair amount of ammo for everything you've got. And then, the defensive side of this is that, folks who would benefit from it can have the sort of tack vests from Goliath, which I think means everybody going in person on this mission other than Tyr, upon whom the vest would not fit and would be kind of wasted anyway, can have one if they like, and can cover up with rain gear as necessary. By the
After a moment of looking at my usual getup, which is admittedly cop-coated, I vanish and then come back in a modified suit with my padded armor underneath and the rest of the weapons arranged on me strategically using Tama's provided mesh.
Mm-hmm. And she does have just like so much like in the way of tactical accessories. She's been accumulating the stockpile for a while. During or before or after all this, everybody of course has their breakfast and coffee as they wish. Tama particularly keeps on gazing wistfully at Ash, sort of. So unless there's any last minute things that need to be done around here, it seems like it may be go time. So as far as getting to the other end of the station goes, you got options. Public transit seems a little dicey. You've got rain gear, but also like, seems like honestly, if you were just on the street, you probably would pass pretty much unremarked upon, but it's a decent hike if you do it that way. Still less cumbersome than going as much as the way as you can via the basements. Of course, other options include some kind of cab or a rented e-bike. One of you has a hoverboard, another one of you has a motorcycle, and then of course Tyr can locomote pretty quickly without either, which means that maybe just some personal conveyances with one person riding proverbial shotgun could be the way to go. How do you plan to get there?
I thought we investigated a basement approach too.
You have a very comprehensive view of the basements on that end of the station. As far as the connection between your end of the station and that end of the station, you'd be feeling it out a little bit. So certainly the final approach could be made via basements with no issue.
And before we leave, I do pull everyone into another group hug.
Tama makes this noise. And Apatia makes noise.
I make no particular noise, but I do participate in the hug and manage to smile out of both sides of my mouth at those two noises. But kind of separately, different degrees of smile.
Like the Dreamcast Sonic game.
It's not DreamWorks face, but it might be Dreamcast face.
Everyone, I think, if I can speak for everyone, enjoys the hug.
Here. So we all.
As you are leaving headquarters, you get little confirmation messages from Slagpie, from Haru, from Bronwy, from Ali and K&B, that they're all sort of initiating their parts of the mission. And however you choose to get to the other side of the station, you begin your trek. At length, you come to the leg of the trip that is to be made via the basements to approach the coordinates of the Asano base. Now, we have only spent a little bit of time on this end of the station. It is sparser, generally speaking, less dense in both construction and population. And accordingly, the basements are a little bit more spread out, a little bit less connected. Obviously, infrastructure still needs to be handled. Honestly, though, being in the basements today for the approach to the mission site is kind of nice because it means you're not getting rained on. And though you can hear a lot of gurgling as the system drainage sort of functions to interact with the rain. You're not entirely sure if it was raining on the whole station or not when you left, but it was raining the whole way above ground, and seemingly, based on the sound, also raining as you are traversing below ground, which, and maybe it was raining on the whole station. Maybe you just were moving with the rain. The most unsettling version, maybe the rain was following you. No way to tell. Eventually, though, your basement path leads you to the extremity of what you would consider kind of the exclusion zone around this station. Around this facility. There remain some conduits headed in its direction, but part of how you know you're in the right area is that the traversable parts of the basement very conspicuously avoid coming into contact with the facility area. According to your drone surveillance, you are currently in the basements about 30 yards from what you might consider the front of this facility, according to the information that you got with Leap Boy's help. The entrance is actually above ground from a particular copse of trees on the false mountainside of this end of the station. So you essentially have the option of attempting to, shall I say, carve a path through the basements, but probably the more subtle approach is to attempt a little bit of stealth above ground to the elevator shaft leading down to the facility. That is pretty much the 50-50, one option and another, because there really is only one entrance and exit from this place.
I activate my holographic projection armor
Mhm.
to take on the form of the Revenant. And I'm
Mhm.
also going to go ahead and spend a prep to activate riot medicine, which, Adam, you said is an effect until it's used, essentially. So spend one prep to grant all allies and vicinity advantage on saves versus all debilitating attacks.
Mhm.
Gonna go ahead and get out another die because that might come up.
For reference,
Mhm.
I have taken on the appearance of the professor whose information we took from Leap Boy.
Kovalevi.
Yes.
Yeah. He, having been involved in the work in this facility, had some information about it that you got from Leap Boy, and so you, in digital surveillance at least, appear to be him. And with that, you ascend from the basements into the very edge of the mountainside. You have to cover a little bit of ground on the mountainside, and then we'll reach the copse where the entrance is, and hopefully be able to access it without too much trouble. Are we taking any particular steps to try to remain undetected while we move across this sort of fabricated wilderness?
I mean,
Absolutely.
I will try to move stealthily.
Yeah. And we may opt to send some drones ahead as well.
Yeah, exactly. I'll send them out ahead of us. Looking for points of surveillance and tripwires and whatnot.
Yeah, let's start with that robotics roll then, from Tyr. I believe this is actually also going to layer in your personal drone specialty. So in this case, we're going to be combining it with quick, because this is a sort of stealth coordination thing. So that's +1. Robotics is +3, and personal drone is +2 for a total of +6. 2d6 +6. Go ahead and roll when you're ready.
2 5s on the dice. +6 is 11 total.
So critical 16.
You say, yeah, no, it's 10 +6, not 5 +6. Yeah.
Yes.
Critical
Math.
16. So Using your squirrel and bird selves, you scout the path, you monitor for observers. Now, the steady downpour, well, that's overselling it. The moderate shower is keeping a lot of folks off the street who would otherwise be out in it and hampering visibility somewhat. This helps. And this end of the station was good for an Asano secret base because it did not have particularly a lot of surveillance, on this faux mountainside, on this end cap. The placement of the entrance elevator was not done for convenience so much as it was done for, concealment. So there is some indication in the information you have that people entering and exiting tended to stay in the facility for days at a time, and tended to move to and from the entrance while wearing like groundskeeper garb in ones or twos. In the current moment, you figure that your best bet is to sort of all hustle low and quick, with your rainwear on and just be out of sight, as fast as possible. And so that brings us to Luis's stealth roll, I believe.
Yep.
Be quick plus stealth for 2d6 plus 5.
I rolled a pair of 5s just like Nick did. So
Okay.
critical 15
Critical
then.
15. So you are able to help your group time everything. You move particularly subtly. Your companions a little bit less so, but you do help to sort of like pick a path that uses the topography of the faux mountainside and the shrubbery and trees that are present there to minimize your profile. And as far as either you or Tyr are concerned, it doesn't seem as though you were observed on your approach. Arriving at the copse of trees that conceals the entrance, it would be quite difficult to detect you without specialized surveillance equipment. And even then, something like thermal would be, sort of rendered less useful by the rain. Arriving in the copse, you can actually see there is a small wood-colored post with a little pair of buttons on the top of it. Easy enough to use a gloved hand to press the, sort of appropriate one to call the elevator. And sure enough, a section of ground slides away, revealing a platform that you can descend onto. Now, the entrance at the bottom is certainly going to be equipped with surveillance equipment, but from the information on Levy's system, courtesy of Leap Boy, that the actual upper elevator shaft entrance is not surveilled because they were trying to minimize the amount of equipment and infrastructure this close to the surface where it could be observed.
Well, it seems like then our options are to either walk right past the surveillance or cover them up. Whatever lenses, cameras might be there. And in either case, we're going to be noticed.
I thought we just established there wasn't much.
At the
There
was-
bottom.
Yeah, there's
At the bottom,
surveillance at
there's-
the bottom.
Mm-hmm. So the, I guess, message that is being sent here is that when you are in the elevator, you will need to have some way of approaching your exit from the elevator, either to circumvent the surveillance or to deal with the consequences of potentially being surveilled. This is known. This is an issue that, you are aware of, but simply didn't have very much ability to do anything about until you are here. I presume that everybody, present, is going to take the elevator down. Maybe, I guess there might be shifts if you'd like. I guess a question that I have is, Tyr, how many of your drone selves are crowding into the elevator and heading down?
Yeah, I will leave 2 of me on the surface, and the rest of me are coming down.
Good deal. A
So
couple
it's
of
a
lookouts.
packed elevator.
Yeah. Fortunately, relatively large, as this is the only entrance. It also had to be for cargo, as well as personnel. So certainly more crowded than it would have been without the other 22 of you. But still not, shoulder to shoulder. So based on the information from Levy's system, when you get to the bottom, you'll have essentially a hallway leading to the actual entrance door, and sort of a camera facing either way, one toward the elevator from the door side and one toward the door from the elevator side, seems to be the expectation based on the schematics.
Are these the sort of cameras that I can fuck around with?
At least in theory, seems like they would
Cool.
be.
Then I would like to take the opportunity to do so, namely, looping an empty hallway.
Yeah, so first thing, hacking roll.
Yep.
So that'll be 2d6 plus 9.
I am going to spend a prep
Okay.
to reroll Snake Eyes.
Nope, you add 1 die. You don't reroll.
Oh,
You
yeah,
can boost,
well.
but not reroll.
That was a third
Oh,
one.
no. All right.
God damn it.
It's a 12.
Sure. It's just also a critical Snake Eyes.
Yeah, if a 12 is a success, then it's a success.
Uh-huh. So here's the ambiguous answer I'm going to give. You are unable to locate a network into which to insert yourself. This seems unusual.
Okay.
That said, you are pretty sure that this is not you failing to find a network. You are pretty sure that this is a network
Wired
not
CCTV.
being available. So,
I will then say, everyone else, stay in the elevator until I tell you to come out.
Mm-hmm. So
This is your realm. We're here to support.
I swivel the beanbag shotgun around to my front and brace my back against the corner nearest the door.
Be out of line of sight of the camera that the store will be opening out onto, so
That's
that
where
I
it
am
should
the
be.
only one where I am the only one visible.
Mm-hmm. Everybody quickly arranges themselves, and
Humanoids and non-scrunch into a position that is a
Crowded elevator, even more squished.
Mm-hmm. And then, at length, the elevator door trundles open. And the first thing that you sort of notice, Luis, is that this corridor is dark, unlit, not even emergency lights.
Interesting. Can I see the cameras?
I guess that depends on whether you're going to turn on a light source.
Yeah.
Okay. Looking around, you spot the housings for the cameras after a few moments of searching. One near, one far. You also spot some light fixtures that are currently deactivated.
So by housings for cameras, are you saying that the cameras are not themselves there?
You don't really have a good way of knowing that under the circumstances. They could be there, they could be not. Think like the way that department store surveillance works. You can see the little mirrored bubble, but not the devices inside.
Yeah. In that event, I'm a fucking spray paint them.
All right. It is a simple enough task. It takes a few moments. As you are approaching the camera on the other end of the corridor, you notice that the door into the facility proper is sort of like two doors that each slide back into the wall, sort of sci-fi style, one of which is open and one of which is closed. There are no lights on the other side either.
Yeah, no, I'm going to slink back to the elevator, say, cameras are spray painted. I look like Kovalevi. And lights are out. There's no network. One door is open, and this is either extremely abandoned or hostile action already arrived.
And we saw people entering it while we were surveilling the entrance, or was that information that we received from Kovalevi's data?
You received the information on how people were typically entering it from Kovalevi's system clone on Leap Boy's backup. You have not personally observed anybody entering or leaving.
Okay. Let's assume a hostile action and proceed
Yeah.
with caution.
Seems like a safe bet.
Agreed.
Apatia goes, this is exciting.
I'll take point.
I'll be out in pot in front of you.
Taking point means being in the front.
Sure.
I'll
But-
take point.
I'm less conspicuous.
Oh,
I gesture
yes.
to myself.
Okay, yes, please.
No, I understand. It takes some getting used to. For me too.
So, Tyr, you send some of your drone selves out ahead to scout through the open side of the door. A few beats later, Ash, you lead the way in sort of for the larger selves of your various party members. Now, Tyr, you find that, this is as you were prepared to discover by the information from Kovalevi's system, a relatively large facility, given the secrecy, given the space constraints. The initial area sort of beyond the door here is all again powered down. Your drone selves do not detect any sign of powered on sort of electronics or grid in the near sort of field, and spread out left and right as the hallway sort of splits. You start to see similar sort of sliding automated doors in the closed position here and there. You don't see any people yet, and your scanners don't register any movement in those initial hallways. As you sort of start scanning a little more broadly, you can see that there are parts of this facility you're not entirely sure with precision yet where they lie, that do have power. You also are pretty sure that the heat differentials that your scanning equipment is picking up now that you're inside the facility indicate that there are some human beings somewhere in this space.
Okay, pass all of this along in a whisper, which, because I'm an android, is just normal speech that's very, very low volume.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't get greedy. We do what we came here to accomplish, and then we leave.
Agreed.
Yeah, what we're here to accomplish is already completely insane. We don't have to go too far beyond that.
Apatia, for her part, is sort of in the middle of the line and kind of looking around and taking everything in. Probably can see better in the dark than baseline organic human beings can, and is seeming to try to commit everything to memory as she goes. The layout of this initial area has a variety of sort of small 1 to 2 person workspaces, most of which seem to be more office than like lab. So there are powered down workstations, there are desks, there are chairs, there are even some bookshelves, most of which seem to have like project files on them. Unfortunately, not all of the doors are budgeable. Most of them have some kind of window. A few of them are cracked and could be pried, but the ones that are closed are just powered down, and so would take a fair amount of effort to get into. It appears that
Any open?
none fully open. It appears that the sort of T juncture that you come to, the hallway split left and right, and then sort of form a rectangle with these spaces around the outside and filling in the interior, and progress further into the facility on the other side. If you go around to the left or to the right.
Should we try one of these workstations?
Yeah.
All right. If you're just kind of selecting by whim, let's say you take the second cracked door that you find, the fourth door you've passed, and start to sort of pry it open enough to get into. This appears to be a 2-person workstation. There's sort of like a low cubicle wall subdividing it with a desk to either side of that low cubicle wall and workstations on the desks and low shelves, mostly empty behind where the chairs were, where the chairs are sitting. It is the work of a moment or two to conclude that the workstations are entirely without power.
I still look around to
Mhm.
see if there's anything that I could grab and maybe see if any of the project files have interesting content at a glance.
Give me an investigation roll. Clever plus investigation will be 2d6 plus 6.
Boxcars.
All right.
Nice.
So for a critical 18.
Oh, all right.
So you're doing this
boy.
work by flashlight, essentially. Being underground with no power. You're looking at the binders in this particular office are a little bit sparse, which is a mixed blessing. There's less overall information, but it's easier to go through. There's some manila folders, some binders, a couple of stacks of loose paper, and you sift through them with as much efficiency as you can manage by flashlight, and you find that there's no especially sensitive data in this collection of information, but you are able to put together an interesting picture. You're not sure yet whether this is totally accurate or just what's reflected in these files, but according to what you see here, this facility was constructed in initial station construction, but actually opened 4 years ago and closed 2 years ago. Now, clearly closed does not mean totally decommissioned in this case, because there's been signs of people still working here since then. But in any sort of official capacity, the timeline for this facility is really weird. You're not entirely sure what Asano could gain from that kind of sort of like filing sort of dishonesty or distortion, but it is consistent across all the files that you see here. The last thing that you sort of come across is a very carefully and euphemistically worded acknowledgement that some of the subjects of the program are unaccounted for, and it is very specifically undated. The actual spot on the memo for date and time is there. It just doesn't have any information in it.
I take anything that seems relevant and just pocket it on my person.
There we go.
And I don't find anything else like key cards or...
Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the sort of thing that's kept here.
That would have been too
I look
easy.
around to see if there's an obvious place they should be getting power that they're not. Starting with dumb stuff like resetting outlets and then working outward from there.
I think this is probably also going to be a roll. Let's get a clever. I think it's just going to be a clever roll.
Cybernetics is pushing it, unless these machines are way more interesting than we think they
I think
are.
it's just a clever roll. So 2d6 plus 2.
That is a 6 plus 2 is 8.
Okay. So the infrastructure of this facility on this level is very locked down. You actually note that the wired intranet does not go from like a jack on the wall to the terminal. It actually like comes out of the wall. The wire like doesn't have like an intermediary step of like the jack on the wall. So like this was constructed so that this floor did not have a whole lot of access. What this means is that outlet wise, nothing is responsive. And beyond that, you'd have to start pulling like steel panels off the wall to be able to tell how this was supposed to be getting juice. What you can determine is that it seems like it's supposed to have emergency power. There are things like exit signs that are not lit.
Interesting. I point this out to the group, not that it's probably the most helpful thing in the world. But we can't all roll boxcars, clearly.
Not every time.
I mean, keep in mind, I've also rolled triple once.
Yeah, that was particularly...
Dez's dice are a land of contrast. It's true, yeah.
So, anything else we want to try and get up to while we're in this area of the facility before we make our way to the other side of the rectangle?
Not for me.
Okay. So the other side of the rectangle contains the exit from this area, which best be described as like a secure checkpoint. It's got, some sort of counters and choke points kind of built into it, but no door. It's just a corridor. And then on the very other end, there's like an open doorway. This is very clearly meant to be manned, and yet it is not. What there is, however, are a pair of small red blinking lights, one on either side of the hallway on the counter. This is the first sign, other than the elevator being operable, that you have seen of power to this like level of the facility. The lights turn out to belong to essentially communication devices, kind of combination local radio, phone, little unit that were presumably meant to be used by the guards that would be stationed here. And the light that's blinking is the no signal light on both of them. But it appears at the very least that they have a bit of a battery backup.
I have no interest in interacting with a communication device I can't carry and get intel on what other people might be doing.
Yeah, I mean, certainly we can simply pass them by, go through the other end of the hallway.
Do they have obvious, like, network connection or, well, no, they have blinking red no network lights, but they have power.
Yeah, they seem to be powered by a battery backup. They're not receiving signal. It looks like at a glance they are equipped to receive signal either wired or wireless.
Okay.
Like kingdom for one asshole who still uses a zip drive.
I'm going to make a...
Well, we can note that there's power at least available here if we figure out something.
Yeah, it's a start.
I don't like that Adam just rolled.
The device to your left chimes as though receiving a call. The no signal light is still blinking. It goes, boo-doom, 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 over and over again.
Are there
Is
any
this
nameplates
revenge,
or anything?
Adam?
Are there any nameplates or anything else on the desk to indicate whose desks these might be?
Nope.
Or
They're
whose
just
workstations.
security generally. As for revenge, I guess it can function that way. That is not how it was conceived, but now that you mention it, sure, why not?
What a way to characterize revenge.
The mysterious ringing phone
Mm-hmm.
with just screams.
You know what? Fuck it. I will answer it.
Okay. You
I will pick it up. I do not say anything
Okay.
immediately.
good deal. Yeah, you pick up the receiver on it and you
I move as though to stop you, then do not
mhm.
stop you.
You just listen. You hear on the receiver a sort of series of rhythmic clicks in several pitches. Roll me. Ooh, this is going to be a fun one to figure out. Clever plus. You know what? Let's make it hacking. Let's make it hacking after all. Clever plus hacking.
So that is critical 8 for 17.
Okay. You do reach a conclusion, though it takes you kind of a moment because it's not the sort of thing that pops up every day, but it continues long enough that you do have enough of a pattern to recognize you have no idea what this might be attempting to communicate, but it seems to be doing whatever it's doing in quaternary. You are unaware of any applications of quaternary.
Aside from a certain Ouija board.
I will record for a few.
Mhm.
And then try to translate we're here to help into binary and then transpose it into quaternary.
Okay. I'm going to keep using the previous hacking roll here. It is not like an extremely protracted span
Sure.
to do this, but it is laborious. But you think you accomplish it, and you double check your work, and you feed it into the receiver. But there doesn't seem to be any interruption in or change to the information coming in.
Yep. If I get a loop of it, then that's a good recording.
Okay. It is kind of hard to tell precisely, but you are able to observe no particular change in response or even just after to the sort of rate and pattern so far as you can determine it. This is the sort of thing that if you spent a week with your recording, you might be able to hazard some guesses as to what is attempting to be sort of run through. But currently, you're like, well, this
this is now like epilogue fodder.
Yeah, you're sort of like, okay, I understand that this is a system, but it is not something that I can really interact with in a convenient timescale right now. It continues for as long as you have the receiver sort of off the hook.
I will replace the receiver and say, not in binary or quaternary, sweet dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
So
Better to know.
True, but might be a good indication that we'll have a difficult time accomplishing sending out a press release from a hidden facility that's been taken over by the projects.
We'll see.
Apatia has watched all this with a lot of interest, but otherwise an uncharacteristic quiet. She is focused, it would seem. The obvious way forward is through the door on the other side of this security checkpoint. According to what you know of the facility, this is likely to lead to stairway down, and then to the next sort of level of the facility. We don't have anything else to do on this level. Tyr, your drone selves sort of precede the party, and sure enough, there are stairwells to either side that go down to a landing, turn 90 degrees, and then go down another flight of stairs, leading to doors. The first thing that you notice through your drone selves is that these doors, while closed, do have light coming from the other side of them.
All right. Any clever ideas, or do we just go in?
Tyr, your drone selves, do their best to sort of like get scanner data through these doors, but you get the distinct impression that they and the sort of bulkheads into which they are set must have been lead lined specifically for this purpose. While you were able to detect some lower information from further in the base from above, just through scanners, from this directionality, totally blocked out. It is possible that there might be some people on this level based on your previous scans. They could be a level lower. They could be on this one. They could be on both.
Are there any vents or other ways to access the interior except via the door?
Not something I had given a lot of thought to before. I'm going to rule in this moment that due to the secret sort of nature and sort of security mindedness of the construction here, vents are handled through a number of small and relatively well closed off shafts that go from each level directly to the surface. Their locations are not part of the information that was available on Kovalevi's machine. So there is, I guess, a version of this where like your drone selves that are still above ground could like scour the mountainside, right, to find where these are, and that would give you potentially drone access through those. It would be not especially immediate, I suppose would be the way I put it.
Yeah. Well, it's expected, I suppose, with lead-lined doors that there's not going to be a vent that just leads into the room.
Deus Ex Human Revolution, this is not.
Right, so unless there's any clever ideas, we could hesitate here forever, but that's just as dangerous perhaps as whatever lies behind that door.
Oh, at least.
We should
Yeah.
take cover before we open it.
Apatia
Alright.
goes, "Oh, definitely." So cover is taken. Probably the most expedient thing is to have one of Tyr's drone cells trigger the mechanism. And so the door draws open and light streams into the stairwell. They are sort of medium bright fluorescent lights lining a relatively broad network of hallways. This level is bigger than the one above it, not by leaps and bounds, but noticeably so, and has a number of both outside and inside spaces that are seemingly more dedicated to what we might call hands-on work with robotics, and one large chamber in the middle that was probably designated at one time for testing. Though you can't see the whole floor from here, that does seem to sort of be the general vibe that you are getting looking out from what you can see. You don't immediately see any people or entities in the vicinity of the door, however. Tier?
Yeah. A pigeon confidently walks through the door, bathed in the light and backlit by the darkness, and bobbing its head and waltzing in as though it owns the place, looking around thoughtfully, followed perhaps by us.
Okay. I think probably it's been long enough. Let's get you another clever this time in robotics roll. I think you can add personal drone here as well. So that'll be 3 for clever, 3 for robotics, 2 for personal drone is 2d6 plus 8, I think.
It's a 2 and a 3 on the die, so 5 and 8 is what, 13?
13, yeah.
Mhm.
With the door out of the way and your pigeon confidently bobbing down the hallway, you are able to use some of your scanning functions to determine that there are 2 alive human beings on this floor. They are on the opposite side from where you have entered. As far as you can discern from here, they don't seem like they're acting like they are aware of you, but you just have their heat signatures at this stage. So a quick glance at your scanners seems to indicate that this floor operates the same way as the previous one, with the entrance on your side and the exit to further facilities on the other side where the 2 heat signatures are.
All right. I think I'll move into the room, but trying to stay nondescript towards the corners, while kind of a cloud of me accompanies the pigeon and fans out through the room,
Okay.
trying to get a visual on the 2 humans.
Eventually, one of your drone cells sort of creeps into field of view, and what you can see are 2 uniformed individuals. They are of a similar height with short dark hair, and both are wearing what it only takes you a moment of zooming in and inspecting to ascertain are Asano Heavy Industries like work uniforms, the sort of thing that people who worked in shipping or on a factory floor would have on. However, these 2 people are armed with state-of-the-art, I think Omnidyne would be the provider of the hardware here. I could need to double check that. But this is high-end security equipment that you don't immediately recognize as like, right, that model. They are currently leaning toward each other and speaking in what you might call vigorous whispers. A little bit of fine tuning, and you are able to tune into their conversation. One of them is saying, "Yeah, but it hasn't been 30 minutes yet." The other says, "I know that, but you heard all that, right? Whatever's going on in there, it's none of our business. We have our orders, and it's to stay here and make sure nothing gets out. Look, I don't want to go in there either, but something is wrong. And it's not our job." They glare at each other for a few seconds in silence.
I pass this along, of course.
In the next few moments, they sort of one of them sighs, the other one leans back, and they seem to resume their guard duty in relative silence, somewhat sulkily.
Did they say 3 or 30 minutes?
30.
Okay.
Ah,
I heard 3, so thank you.
same.
Apologies. I suppose it is difficult to whisper aggressively and clearly at the same time.
Classic problem. Yeah.
Hmm.
And just to clarify the mental image, are the two guards like right next to the door? Are they a bit further back?
They are each about a foot to either side of the door. So,
Mhm.
5-ish feet apart.
Hmm.
Their attention seems to be first on the door, second on each other, third on the rest of the floor that they're on.
I say to the group quietly or via text, whatever seems appropriate.
Sure.
What do you think? Think that we can pull off being a special mercenary unit to go and handle whatever this is?
Apatia
Do we take them out?
looks down at her baggy pants and crop top and denim jacket and then back up and goes, maybe if I'm not there.
Well, a special mercenary unit takes all sorts.
Is
Off
it
the
a
books.
is it another leaden door on the other side that might dampen sound?
It does seem to be both leaded and somewhat more heavy duty than the ones that you came in through to get to this floor.
I don't think we have a choice.
Yeah.
Well, talk our way through or shoot our way through.
They're not going to talk. This is a top secret facility, so they will shoot first.
I will just point at Ash in agreement.
So my flash grenades, are they flashbangs or...
Yes.
Okay. Important distinction. If there
Mhm.
was like a camera click variety that makes that high-pitched noise before going off, that would have been ideal.
I mean, there's 27 of us and 2 of them.
There are. The issue is how much noise.
Guess we don't really have the lay of the land as far as who else is still here. Human-wise or otherwise-wise.
My guess at this juncture is they have scarce security, but extremely specialized.
Seems likely.
And they'll be using lethal rounds unlike our paintball playing Goliath boys.
I'm realizing only now that I was slightly hoping we were in like a, I don't know, deadly neurotoxin situation.
So the question is, do we try to take them out with melee and hope that one of them or both do not escape to press a button or set off an alarm, or do I shoot them?
I think that my sticky shock is pretty silent.
That's so you can take a target on the right, I'll take the one on the left, sticky shocker.
We'll see.
I should
Seems like a
also share
reasonable
at this
compromise. No one has to die necessarily, but 2 people do need to get shot.
point.
Right.
I should also share at this point that everyone gets +1 to cool defense during this mission due to my skill of cool head, and everyone is also going to take +1 to tough defense during this mission for the cause, since I am fighting for a cause larger than myself.
All right.
And I may use my... I'm going to save my free boost for this mission.
All right.
So this ACAB and soldier, so advantage, and then the +1 that comes from that will be an effect.
Nice. I can also turn a boost, I can turn an advantage into a boost at one point in this mission, but just once.
This feels kind of cheap, but these are not security forces. These are armed technicians. um, these are guys who have been handed guns and told stand here and don't let anybody through. So I don't want to seem to be trying to deprive you of your bonus. If it helps, there are security forces you can shoot at. These guys are not them.
I mean, also out of character, I'm not that great with weapons, I think. I've got a
Right.
quick of what +1, so if anybody would like to take the shot instead, you're welcome.
I mean, you're the one that's holding this the sticky shocker right this instant. But
That can change.
I am
decide
quick
what you're
+3,
going to do.
and I have been trained by a certain officer in the use of light firearms, so I am happy to take the shot if you do not want to.
Right, yeah. So I want to say that, like, I start, like, kind of raising my weapon as though to take aim, and then, like, hesitate, and it's just, like, too many bad memories.
Mm-hmm.
Vic, I don't suppose you'd be willing to do the honors?
Yeah, I'll make some bad memories.
I'll step up when the time needs, but, here we've got the time, so.
Mm-hmm.
So
Makes sense to
to
me.
clarify, am I
Yeah.
losing the advantage or am I losing the +1?
I was looking at the +1 for ACAB. Advantage comes from where on your character sheet?
ex-soldier.
Yeah, so Vic, you can take the shot for Tyr, and in looking at the language on your sheet there, Ash, these guys are definitely neither cops nor ex-cops, so I think we're not going to take advantage on it, but they're acting as security, so you can still take your +1 for ACAB there, and we'll get to bring the full force of the hurt on some bigger assholes later, one hopes. Yeah, let's go ahead and get those rolls. That'll be with quick.
That is 2 5s +3, so 13 with a
A
crit.
lot of criticals on this one. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm still doing math. Hold on.
Yeah, by all
So
means.
it'll be, so I think that'll just be 8, right? Wait, quick. I'm also rolling a specialty, right?
Right. Yeah, no,
Am I
you're
gonna
going
go
to go
pew-pew?
pew
Okay.
and your +1 for ACAB. Yeah.
Thank heavens. I thought
Sorry.
that. Okay.
I was specifying the
I was like,
attribute that was being
damn.
used. I was leaving your specialties to you all. So yes, your
So that'll be a
roll
10.
will be +2 for quick, +3 for Mike go pew pew, and +1 for ACAB. So a total of 10. Okay.
No, 11.
11?
Yeah.
So because that's +6.
Okay. Cool. So pretty similar rolls. Excellent. Both of these hit then, and both of these, I feel safe at this point saying doofuses, basically go and then sag back against the wall, giving you perfect opportunity to do precisely whatsoever you wish for about the next 10 seconds before they're really able to muster any kind of resistance to your actions.
Disarm,
Mm-hmm.
zip tie, knockout.
Disarm, zip tie, knockout. It is. A closer look reveals their weapons to be state of the art Omnidyne security weapons. They have essentially like low velocity but large caliber munition. These ones that are loaded seem to be solid steel in the projectile, which is kind of unusual. It would not deform upon impact, and has more mass, so it wouldn't go as high velocity, but would hit pretty hard. If you shot a person with these, you would take like fist-sized chunks out of them at close range, but at like the extremity of the accurate range would be like nasty bruises and breaking ribs. it doesn't seem thus that these are really designed to be shot at people. The other thing that you note is that they are high tech enough to be keyed. They simply will not function if not being wielded by the people they are keyed to.
But I can still take the mag out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can, manipulate the machinery, but the trigger function will not work. So you can absolutely unload them.
I also check their person for anything else that might be useful.
Yeah, you find their sort of ID and security cards, first off, which identify them as Asano personnel, job titles of technician. And based on the similarity in their appearances and the identical surnames on their IDs, you take them to be brothers. They don't have anything else on their person than one of them has a pack of gum. It would appear that their uniforms do not feature pockets.
I do take the pack of gum just to be petty.
What a cruel choice.
Yeah, it's small sticks of cinnamon gum.
Is there a trash can nearby?
There's a trash can on this floor. You could find for sure, whether it's like 5 feet away or not. Little ways.
Also, I try to probably drag them someplace where they're not immediately in evidence if someone comes through after us.
Yeah, you're able to sort of
help
put them
out
in
with
an
this.
inconspicuous place.
Good shot, by the way.
Thanks. I thought about all that stuff you told me and then managed to kind of stop thinking about it.
You have the run of this floor if you wish to investigate anything. And of course, you have access to the door to the next level if you wish to go that way as well.
Let's find a terminal.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
It becomes pretty quickly evident that the way this level is laid out, you have the interior rooms divided by the hallways seem to be sort of larger scale work and testing spaces, places where, various projects could be, assembled, activated, and thus they are mostly empty, mostly like window. There are, minimal features inside them. Around the outside of this level, though, are a number of 1 to 4 person workspaces that have both sort of workbench areas, some specialized equipment that is entirely inscrutable to everybody here, but also some terminals that are receiving power. And so you find a one of those. What are we doing with it?
I would like to check if it has a network connection.
It does. The local intranet seems to be relatively walled off into different sections and divisions. This terminal does have a broader network connection, though it does seem to require an administrator access to use. I presume this does not make you go, shucks, and shut the thing down.
No. What? I'm a fucking administrator. I'm administering it.
Exactly. Uh-huh.
That is a 10, not a crit, so a 19.
All right.
On hacking. And I assume ghosting is probably in order as well?
Should be.
That is a critical 15 on ghosting.
All right. So, yeah, you are able to spend a little time in the terminal on this insystem. You are able to, you actually find that it does not become necessary for you in this instance to, insert and use your shard card, but you are able...
That was what I was hoping to avoid, yeah.
You are able to use some of the information you can get from the shard card to have a good idea of how these access systems are set up. And you find yourself able to establish a sort of broader connection to station-wide networks under the auspices of a spoofed administrator account. It does also ask you to log a reason for requesting this access. I leave it to you to decide what goes in that field.
Press access.
Press access goes in the field. Yeah, you have the network access you need with that.
So this, out of character, this feels way too fucking simple. But correct me if I'm wrong. We are here to disseminate the press release. We are at an Asano terminal that has internet connection to the broader internet. Fuck it, we do the thing. I don't trust this, but we do the thing.
All right. So you load up the press release that you and Haru prepared, and you make some arrangements to simultaneously disseminate it in a variety of channels to a variety of destinations, including press and, sort of more...
And also to Haru, because, she deserves to Lois Lane herself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Haru, a few message boards, with various levels of traceability to this terminal, and of course, none to you.
Right. I mean, all of them are traceable to this terminal.
Exactly. I suppose I was assuming that you would not want it to look like Asano sent the press release directly to 4chan, just that 4chan obtained the press release.
Okay, yeah. Fair.
So, this happens. Nothing gets in your way. And so, in short order, the various destinations have text as follows on Asano digital letterhead with, and to be clear, logos, photos, images, video, plans, other media, as sort of would be helpful to illustrate the various points here. It reads in various, sort of, shall we say, corporate idioms as follows. Asano Heavy Industries for immediate release. Revolutionary breakthroughs in robotics and AI made possible by collaboration between Asano Heavy Industries and Grand Cross. An orbital environment and the privacy provided by station infrastructure have enabled researchers and scientists employed by Asano Heavy Industries and our business partners to open up new frontiers in off-world development thanks to new advances in robotics, artificial intelligence, and political organization. And then it gives the byline, Grand Cross, L5, 14th of March, 2020. Thanks to investments and efforts from Asano Heavy Industries and our business partners, including Grand Cross Station Government, as well as the facilities and privacy afforded by the Uptown Station NCAPS infrastructure, we are proud to announce that over the course of Grand Cross's operation, we have developed and even had spontaneous deployments of revolutionary new syntheses of experimental robotics and cutting-edge artificial intelligence, codenamed the Dreamers. While aiding our partners at Ogermach Engineering, Galleani Aerospace, and Landvetter Orbital with the construction of Grand Cross, we obtained special permission from the Lagrange Treaty Partners to construct an R&D facility in the Uptown NCAP of the station, protected by equipment from our friends at Omnidyne Systems and personnel from Goliath Inc., who were considered reliable at the time. At this facility, in partnership with our off-world cartel brothers and sisters, we've made great leaps ahead in the technologies needed for the orbital society of tomorrow. While these advancements have necessarily been classified up to now, we are finally ready to share the great strides our industry has cooperated in making with the general public. Within this secure facility, many new beings were born with many talents and perspectives. A scouting model, for example, proved so effective that several units found their way into the station basements, while our cutting-edge fabrication unit actually figured out how to produce self-aware versions of standard station drones almost overnight. With assistance from a purely digital intelligence produced by our collaboration with Galleani Aerospace and Morningstar, these other creations were even able to start creating their own intelligent constructs while unobserved. Of course, none of this research was purely out of intellectual curiosity, but oriented around the practical needs of non-terrestrial human civilization. And some of the Grand Cross public might well have encountered the various creations of the Dream Project in the past couple of years. While they've tended to be reclusive and have no way of communicating with human beings or androids, our dreamers have been pursuing their own goals in the wider station with impressive initiative. This is only a small peek at what is possible with broad, secret cooperation between governments and business alliances free from the strictures of earthbound society. Just imagine what else we might accomplish together here at the L5 Lagrange point. So don't hesitate to let your representatives in government and partners in business know you support our cutting-edge research into shackled, artificially intelligent robotics projects. Without it, there would be no powerful, mysterious, self-aware, self-replicating machines hiding throughout the station we call home. And then there's some boilerplate and contact info at the end.
Damn!
Brilliant.
That's incredible, Adam. And I'm so glad I got to help write it in character, at least.
So you watch as the sort of task queue ticks down in terms of sending all of this out and, confirming that it has been copied in a number of places. You receive the little confirmation message, and then two things happen basically simultaneously. First, the terminal that you're on blue screens. Second, there is a crack of thunder. However, this does not come from somewhere distant and roll through the air of the station above ground. That's not where you are. It comes from shockingly nearby and rattles the whole floor that you're on. Power on this floor goes out. And because I'm a scamp, that will conclude this session of Dice Punks. Thanks for joining us. I hope our players and listeners enjoyed it as much as I did, and that you'll all join us again next time, which, of course, is this time for us recording it. So hopefully there will be great continuity between the two. Regardless, if you're hearing us now, then you probably know where to listen to this, but we can be found almost any place one can listen to podcasts, as well as on the wider web at dicepunks.com and on Tumblr and Blue Sky as at Dicepunks. With that, I think we're ready to say farewell, so say goodbye to the kind folks back on Earth, players.
Thanks for listening. Take the shot, send the email, befriend the scamp of a demigod.
We appreciate you listening. And I hope that you never shy away from collecting everything that brings you joy, even if it's a staggering amount of firearms. Actually, do not collect firearms. You don't need them.
Thanks for listening, folks. And remember, you're the administrator of everything that you administer.
Truer words.
Yeah, thanks for being here with us, folks, and thanks for lurking just out of sight where we can't see you.
Wait, was that? No, that wasn't them.
And as the poet once said, transistors ride on time, resistors fall in line, capacitors are at full, all engines good, no breach of hull. With all the hope that I could beg or borrow, I can't wait for tomorrow. Beloved listeners, thank you for tuning in. Stick around through the admin stuff for an Adams ad. Music in this episode, Augment or Dies by Emerson, Boatwright, and our very own former bookmonger, Drew. Check out their other work at the link in the show notes. Editing and our rad new cover art was done by Joanne, who has appeared on the podcast now and again. Check out her work around the internet where she goes by Anything Sews. Site design and graphics for dicepunks.com are by the Revenant Robin. Hardwired Island is by Paul Macievich, Freya Owings-Daughter, and Minerva McJonda. You can find Hardwired Island at etten.itch.io/hardwiredisland. Links to the system and authors can be found on the Punk or More section of our website, dicepunks.com. Thanks so much for listening. If you liked what you heard, that's reward enough on its own, but if you're so inclined, you can help us out by rating and reviewing us wherever you listen to us, telling your friends who you think would like us to give us a listen, and even by heading over to our Patreon at patreon.com/dicepunks. We have fun rewards available to backers, including a patron-only Discord and access to the Dice Peaks after show for episodes 1.1 and following. Regardless, we hope you'll tune in again. Until then, remember, subtlety is for cowards. Is life in our cyber-fascist techno-dystopian panopticon getting you down? Do you long for a simpler time? Perhaps a time when the only constant stressor in most people's lives, at least if they were white and lived in the US, was the ever-present threat of total nuclear annihilation? Think there's not quite enough concrete used in the construction of most of Grand Cross? Just need a drink in a loud, dark place? Come on down to the Place of Honor. We have the most compellingly threatening cocktails, served by the bartender with the lowest self-esteem anywhere in orbit. Also, live performances most nights. So come live out your borrowed nostalgia for an ahistorical fantasy of the civil defense era any night of the week at the Place of Honor, the most misleadingly named bar in orbit.